Ever since beginning of time, since the creation of the universe, since the Big Bang, the hydrogen and helium particles that had just been born, even if there weren't living beings, they would have a recurring question, wondering if there was ever an answer to it. But the elements wouldn't find it, as they couldn't think. And since then, this question will always be present in the mind of the universe. Even great philosophers such as Aristotle, Socrates, and Descartes figure out the very essence of the human existence, the immortality of the soul, the phenomena of the natural world. Biology, physics, chemistry, astronomy, etc. could not answer this very simple question, which has been left unanswered to this very day. Even great minds of all time such as Isaac Speed, KSI, Jake Paul, and even Saul Goodman himself would try to seek answers, but to no avail. When is the next SMBZ episode? No one knows, nor shall anyone ever know. Okay, enough of this bullshit. It comes out when it comes out. Before I'll delve into that, I want to explain a bit of the logistics here. First, let's assume, for the sake of argument, that SMBZ fans have a brain. More specifically, the ability of pattern recognition. Here's the timeline from 2006 to 2009. I'm sure you recognize these years because it's when peak media came out, like Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario Calculator, Sonic the Hedgehog, and of course, SMBZ. Let's start with episode 1, being the shortest episode of the series, only taking Mark Haynes 3 weeks to animate it. 1 month later, episode 2 is released, being slightly longer and slightly better animated. Then, 1.5 months later, episode 3 debuted. It's here that we properly meet our beloved Flash media villain, Metallix, Mechasonic, Metallix, Mechasonic, Mechadrix, Mechasonic? Okay. 2 months later, episode 4 is released, featuring yet again improved animation with the introduction of 3D elements. 5 months later, episode 5 is released. It's now 2007. Fights would start becoming a lot more carefully crafted, a good example being Mario using the spear. 3.5 months later, episode 6 is released. I don't think I should say anything here. 1 month later, the opening is created. That's right, the intro was only firstly used from episode 7 moving forwards. Speaking of which, 7 only came out 1 year and 4 months after episode 6. We are now in 2008. This obviously ended up being the longest SMBZ episode to date. And again, 1 year after, now in 2009, episode 8 is released, being the last fully completed episode of Super Mario Bros. Z. Taking a glance at the general view, it's pretty obvious of the point I'm trying to make here. Look at the difference between the episode's development. We go from 3 weeks to 1 year and 4 months. Why did this happen? Better animation and a longer runtime, right? That's obvious, but there are other additional reasons. I'm sure you're aware of the cancellation and all that biz, but do you know exactly why it happened? Why did the original series just end there? There's no other more reliable answer than from the creator himself. This is a very difficult thing for me. I have had this on my mind for quite some time now, and there's no doubt that it will be a very unpopular decision. But I think it's time I finally lay Super Mario Bros. Z to rest. Fact is, it is a time-consuming process and I have grown tired of working on it. Sprite animation no longer has the same appeal to me as it did several years ago. What was once a fun hobby of mine has now turned into a chore from the constant demand. I could blame my lack of motivation on my monotonous job and the impatient fans. Not saying all my fans are impatient, of course, I'm only referring to the vocal minority. I was hoping that someday my creative spark would return to me. Unfortunately, it never did. Looking at this announcement from 2012, it's now clear that over time, while quality and quantity improved, Mark's mental health went the other way. One reason was creative bankruptcy, and the other were the fans. Oh boy, here we go. Yes, he said it was only a few of them, but this minority was annoying enough for him to mention them. I don't know what the comments must have been back then, but going forward a decade later, I'm sure pretty much the same thing is happening right now. It's been 2 years since Ruby episode 2, and the fans are growing impatient yet again. Did Mark Haynes give up on animating SMBZ? Is SMBZ still a thing? SMBZ is fucking dead again. SMBZ cancelled the end, boys. What is Mark doing? Back then in the awesome SMBZ series it didn't took that long. Why is there only 2 episodes? Okay, no. Why is there only 2 episodes? Hey Mark, can you make more episodes? I like to see more, so please make them. These are comments I pulled by 5 minutes of searching. That's how frequent they are. In my opinion, All these messages just reek of ignorance, entitlement, and a disregard for Mark's well-being. An animator faces the same problems as the everyday person? No way! The animator can take breaks whenever he pleases so he can improve his mental health? Unthinkable! The animator has a life outside his animations? Inconceivable! Instead, where's my episode, bitch? Give it to me! My theory is that either SMBZ fans just don't know the time required to animate, or they just don't know how to fucking wait. At this point, I think it's both. Heck, not even SMBZ fans, just Sprite fans in general. How did Space Fiend manage to produce an entire 1 hour and a half long episode? Because it spent 80% of this day animating. And despite that admirable effort, taking a look at the comments of Super All-Star Bros episode 1, there's already people going, when is episode 2? Fuck off. I don't want to slap these people. I don't want to punch them. I don't want to torture them. I want them to have the course treatment so they can wander off to space and have all the time to think about the shit they say. The demand and impatience for a new SMBZ episode is so high that people are fine with watching clones that pretty much demake everything, from the script, the animation, the jokes, the music, and even the fucking Norfolk cameos. It's insulting to art itself, but people will eat that up even if it's a shit on a silver platter, all because SMBZ didn't release an episode in 3 nanoseconds. It's a miracle that Mark got back to animating in the first place, and it's just disrespectful that the fans are still the same way they were 12 years ago. I honestly can't believe I'm saying this, but if he ever cancels the series again, I hope he serves the fans a heavier second lesson. I will not be complaining too, because it's totally understandable. The man turns 40 years old this year. SMBZ is legal, for Christ's sake. I'm aware of his controversial actions on Twitter. I'm aware he's not the brightest person in the world, but the point of this video was just to show how ignorant, rude, impatient, and arrogant some people were, are, and probably will be in the future. Please, learn to let go for once. In other words,